Hi everybody, karibuni sana to another episode of Conversations with a Therapist. And today I have a guest who is Ian Kariuki, and he'll be here in just a second and we'll get started. So yes, let's get ready for Ian. Excited for the live, very excited to speak to Ian. I hope you'll enjoy this conversation as much as I know I will. Okay.
Sorry. Hello.
We started with seeing your feet.
No worries.
Welcome to the live.
Thank you.
Yes, it's very nice to have you here. Yes, everybody, karibuni sana. My name is Jennifer. I'm a counseling psychologist, and my guest is here, Mr. Ian Kariuki himself. Ian, introduce yourself to the crowd.
Okay. First of all, I'm really honored to be here as a guest today.
Yes.
I don't take it for granted. Yes. So, I'm Ian Kariuki. I'm many things. I'm the founder and CEO of Kariuki Creatives. I'm a student. I'm also doing real estate. Yeah. And I'm also basically an entrepreneur. Yeah. That's it.
How are you able to do all these things at such a young age? I don't know if that's a question you've been asked in the past, but that's a lot of things for one person. And I know that you're also a photographer, you're a graphic designer, you are a graphic designer of the year for People's Choice Awards. You're so many things.
Yeah.
How is that even possible? How do you do all these things? Show us your ways.
Well, that entails a lot of sacrifice. Yeah, sacrifice, time, good time management, yeah, and discipline.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to allocate time for everything.
Did you always, was it always like this from the beginning? Ama, this is something you discovered after trial and error. Did you always know that time management, discipline, and all those things were the ingredients? Ama, there was a lot of trial and error.
Okay, let me say this. Growing up, nilifunzwa time management the hard way. My parents were strict. They were so strict, but I'm grateful because it has really helped me out. They used to be very strict with timelines. If you're to do something by 5 p.m., 5 p.m. ikifika hujafanya kiboko. So I grew up and I embraced it. Well, right now I'm so happy because I can manage my time. I can do like a lot of things in a single day without even straining. So yeah, I'm so grateful. Well, it's not easy, but
what is the hardest part? What is the hardest part? Umesema it's not easy. What is the hardest part?
The hardest part is showing up for everything. Like just showing up is so hard. Because let's say, okay, my day typically starts at around 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends at around 3 a.m. So,
oh my gosh.
Going to bed at 3 a.m. and waking up at 9 a.m. That's so hard. So
how do you survive? How do you survive? Because I'm very curious. How do you survive on such kind of a timeline?
I'm tempted to say God.
It's always God. It's always God. But beside that,
okay, it's a discipline, a plan, it's time. And well, I think it's the passion that fuels that. Because I'll be working till 3 a.m. but I won't feel like I'm going an extra mile or something. Because it all started when I was learning whatever I'm doing. I used to come from school at like 5 p.m. prepare food, freshen up a little, spend some time on Instagram, WhatsApp. Then I just go to YouTube, start learning. Hey, before I realize it's midnight, that's when I'm having my food. Then continue learning, it's 3 a.m. now, I'm like, hey, now I have to sleep. So I got accustomed to that.
Yeah. I think it's very easy for the body to adjust when it realizes that you're in your form. Now things are not going to change.
Exactly.
So the body just accustoms because we are built like that. I think the human body and the human mind is very flexible when it comes to things. When did you start? Okay, which of these things did you start with? Let's just start from there first of all. I don't think anybody becomes all these things at once. Which one of these many creative pursuits you have was the first one, and how long ago did you start it?
Okay. My creative journey started long ago when I was a kid. I used to draw. I love drawing. I'm an artist by the way, but I don't do that nowadays. So I used to draw, and I was around 5 years old. Uko nursery. So I used to draw a lot. As I grew up, I continued perfecting my art. So there was a time I was a portrait artist. I used to draw those 6B pencils. So I learned shading. Then when I went to high school, I used to do a lot of graffiti. You know, in a boys' school, you always boys love watching football. So every weekend there was a football match, and people to hype up the match, we used to make those posters like Manchester Derby. So people used to come to my desk, request me to create a poster for the match. Yeah, so the name grew. Uh, so second term in that term, business was booming because there were a lot of functions, contests. So guys used to send their girlfriend letters, and they used to come to me to do the artworks. So that was it for high school. After high school, I in high school I started doing photography. So I have a cousin, a big cousin. He called Namux on Instagram. He's a very big photographer. So we met at a family function, and I was like, "Hey, bro, kazi yako ni safi. How do you do all this?" Because I'm also a perfectionist. So I was like, hey, "How can you achieve that?" So he told me, he became my mentor for some time. So I started off my journey. I used to hire cameras, go for shoots, the teenager life, photo shoots. So I used to do that. After high school, I still did it. But then I was like, I don't know why I was compelled to do graphic design. I think it all started when I tried adding some text to a photo to make it more interesting. So I added it. Then ikanilemea. So I was like, kwani how do guys do all this? And growing up, I used to question, how do you come up with a billboard? How do you come up with these designs you see on the road? Because you can't do that with your hand. Being an artist, you think everything is done by hand. So I stumbled upon a video on YouTube. That was a graphic design tutorial. I was like, okay, this is interesting. So started learning here and there. I started incorporating adding text to a photo, now to videography, because I had started doing videography. So it's called typography. So I incorporated the typography in my videography skills, and it was so good. So COVID came. So I had a lot of free time in my hands. I was like, I need to learn something new. So I was like, let me try this graphic design. Yeah. And well, I started, it was not that easy. So I was volunteering for a football team back in Thika, because that time I was in Thika. So I used to do their photography, their videography, and now when they had events, I used to do their posters. I started off with Canva actually. So one thing led to another. As perfectionist I am, I always wanted to improve my skills. So it was YouTube video after YouTube video. Then along the way, I met some amazing guys like Zuki Creatives. I met him. He became my mentor. Another guy called DJ Scott and Ed Mugi Graphics. Those guys have really helped me out in the graphic design journey. So they were actually giving me gigs. They sent me they send me a brief. I come up with my design, they perfect it, send to the client. So the client will think it's me who did the amazing work. So with that, I learned a lot of things. I used to watch a lot of tutorials. I used to try hang out with designers. That's how you learn. So I got my first client. Yeah, I did my best and my work sold itself. So clients now started streaming. So after doing graphic design, I was like, there are many designers out there and I need to stand out. So what do I need to do? And I came across social media management. So I just went back to my first client and I was like, can I handle your social media? Because I'm seeing you struggling a lot with posting. And she was like, yeah, by the way, I'm struggling. Ebu nisaidie.
Was that for free, or were you getting paid for it? Did you offer to do it for free?
Yeah.
Or okay.
At first, it was the rates didn't change,
Okay.
but with time, after seeing the value, ilipanda. Hata mimi najua nilikuwa najaribu. So with time, I started seeing the potential of social media. It was like there is advertising, there is there is creating the strategies themselves. So I took several courses online on digital marketing. I used to hang out with a lot of digital marketers, marketing specialists, because they believe in learning from the best. So with that, I came back to my client again and I was like, I've learned a new skill and I'd like to try it out with you. Yeah, she's easy. She is actually my best client till date. So you were like, yeah, let's try it out. Came up with a strategy. It worked. Kept learning. Then I was like, now I'll label myself as a social media manager because I have the skills and I have the resources.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's do it. Then with time, I came across digital marketing as a whole. And I was like, this is really wide, but why not? So I've been learning here and there, meeting people. Then now my graphic design brand now grew to a point where I was even turning down clients because, budgets and all.
Yeah.
So I brought all the skills on board, and now the brand grew to a digital marketing agency.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I got my title as the social media marketing. Because for now I'm the creative director and lead marketing strategies.
Yeah.
So I mainly come up with the strategies and I help out with the design. Yeah. So that's my journey.
That sounds like quite an interesting journey, and the fact that you started like way back, it's actually quite hard to pinpoint how long you've been doing it, because so many things overlapped with other things and you ended up in a place that you didn't. I'm actually curious, did you always know that it was going to end up here, or did you stumble upon things as you went along?
I didn't know. And there is something I tell a lot of my friends, or okay, I'm also a mentor to some people. So I tell them, just be open to learning. Because when I got in, I was open to learning, and that's where I learned a lot of these things. Because I try one thing, then I realize, oh, I can do more.
Yeah.
So that's how it grew. Yeah.
What was your vision in the beginning? What were you aiming at from the very beginning?
Okay. In the beginning, I was like, I want to do art, I want to do aviation, and something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always knew there was something else, but I was not sure about.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the something else.
This is something else. How do you like this something else? How is the experience so far for you?
It's awesome. Sometimes I don't like hata wasi nimefika hapa.
Yeah.
Because 2 years ago hata singekuwa. Yeah, so it's awesome. It's been a journey. Yeah, and I love it. I love it here.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Not many people can say that. There are very many people, especially people, young people who find themselves in situations where they're like, I wish I could exit. I don't want to do this anymore. But for you, so I love it here. That is rare, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy for you. Who has been the biggest supporter for you during this entire creative journey? Who has been your biggest supporter that has helped you get to where you are, and you're like, if this person was not in my life, I don't think I would even be half the person I am today in this particular career I am in? I know there are many.
Myself.
I know there are many. Sorry?
Yeah. First of all, I'd say myself, because I really push myself a lot.
Yeah.
And okay, in the beginning there was a lot of friction, especially with parents. You know, African parents, they're like, you just go to school, you do your studies, utakuja baadaye. Then I was like, I have time, but I don't have time.
Yeah.
So it was up to me to like, no, sacrifice. But then my friends, I have a few friends who understand me, and they always push me, they motivate me. Yeah, so it's, how can I pinpoint? I think there is everyone for every stage.
That's such a smart answer. That's such a simple answer. You don't want to break hearts.
It's most of my friends, people who are close to me. Because, okay, I love sharing my ideas. Even with conversations, I'll just come up with something random, but it's something that will either build me or build them. So that way we motivate each other, we push each other. Yeah. But that's a very hard question.
Maybe that's a good question to think about, because one day you might be asked that question when you're receiving your Oscar, and you won't be able to say everyone. I don't know. You never know. But yeah, that's amazing. I'm very curious if you love it here, and you've said that it's been an amazing journey. Sometimes it shocks you that you're even here. Do you ever have difficult days? Do you ever have hard days, or you are cruising nicely? Are you cruising nicely?
Okay, when we are cruising nicely, we cruise nicely. When you have bad days, very bad days.
I want to hear about those bad days, because it's very easy for people to think that, you know, in social media it's very easy to put your best foot forward, to put your perfect picture, to put the good things that are happening, but people don't know about the bad days. And even if they know about the bad days, I think we've also found a way to sugarcoat our bad days. we try to put
True,
them
true.
with a lot of positivity. We are like, yeah, I survived. By the I'm doing well. I had a bad day, but I'm doing well. We focus very fast on the I'm doing well parts. So I'm very curious about some of the toughest days, especially you've encountered, especially when it comes to mental health, because this entire podcast is about mental health among creatives. So for you personally, what has been your experience with mental health? When did you first become familiar with mental health as a thing? Was that before the mental health issue or after the mental health issue? Walk me through your mental health journey.
Hey, so okay, I came to know more about mental health around 2019, 2020.
Okay. What was happening?
And well, that was that was about, when you grow. Okay, for me, I like learning. I love learning. I always learn every day. So I was just scrolling on the internet. I saw an article about mental health, so it's like interesting. And some of the things that we didn't think were serious were actually in that list, in that below. Things like anxiety, you know, some behaviors we have because we're maybe depressed. So I was like, kwa nini niko depressed?
Waniongelelea bana. It's
Yeah,
me.
but I was not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I learned about traumas, especially childhood traumas,
Mhm.
and I think I was kind of a victim because growing up na hiyo kupigwa, like kuwekwa hivi laini, my mindset had started becoming somehow rigid. Like it's either the right way or the right way. Like you grow up, miss call najua unaweza make a mistake na it's okay.
Yeah.
So I had to unlearn that because, okay, by the way, that has been a very big challenge for me. Okay, you know, I won't unlearn it in a single day. So as I was progressing with my creative journey, you're finding days where you have creative blocks. Kuna siku umechelewa kutuma kazi, client is on your case, mwingine amekasirika hadi anakupigia simu sijui ngapi. So hiyo ilikuwa inaniumiza sana because I'm like, why am I doing a mistake? Like I used to question myself a lot. And sikuwa hata naambia mtu because I didn't think it was a thing, you know. So ilikuwa inanifanya na feel smaller than I actually am. The other thing is the creative blocks. Those things are tough because I'll stare at a design for like 3 hours just moving elements around, lakini hakuna kitu nafanya, and itapata hiyo itamess time yangu. Time nilikuwa nifanye kitu ingine imess hiyo ingine, like you know, napanganga siku yangu, today I'll do this and this and this. So once the first one messes up, the whole day is messed up. So frustrations coming, and for me bado sijajua kudeal na frustrations vizuri because they really bring me down. Like I don't know how to explain that feeling, but those are some of the tough days. Kuna siku nimefanya kazi, nimedeliver, payments zimekuwa delayed, and bills ziko, unajua bills zijiwange, payments zinakuwa delayed.
Yeah.
Everything, unaona tu vitu zinakuwa zikicrash down. Yeah, that's a very tough space to be in because unapeana pressure, hakuna response, but hii side ingine you're really being pushed. And well, in Nairobi siko rahisi, iko gumu sana.
Very true.
Yeah. Kuna sasa story ya self doubt. One day I'll be like, hey, all pumped up, najua mimi sasa mimi ni Kariuki.
When you let
Unatuma kazi.
Yeah.
Like unapata positive feedback everywhere, you feel happy about yourself.
Yeah.
But then the next day you're not happy. Hakuna kitu ina seem go right. Kila kitu nikaa imestall. Kichwa mpaka you can't even think straight. You can't do your stuff. Hauwezi soma, you know. So inaletanga a very cloudy atmosphere around you, and you get really frustrated. Kitambo sikuwa najua kudeal na hizo vitu. I was like, I need to get things done. Like, so I used to push myself a lot. After breaking point, there's nothing you can do. You just exist. Unalala tu, kuna kitu unaweza fanya. Na hiyo inaleta more frustrations. But along the way, I came to learn story in taking breaks, giving yourself a break. Actually, I had a conversation with Mongoza. Aliniambia yeye akipata blocks, yeye huwa anachukua 2 days off work and off anything related to work. And I've tried doing it. Well, it's helping, but sometimes it even take a week. But I'm working hard. Nifike mahali nitafaa chukua hata miezi 3.
Boss moves ndio unafuatilia.
Nimeenda kabisa. So hiyo awareness imenisaidia at least, because sasa nimejua vitu kama na kuna kitu kingine nimesahau kusema, how to deal with the frustrations ni kukuwa na a good system and a clear system, such that ninajua leo kazi yangu ni hii, kazi na delegate ni hii na hii. So I have to communicate in time, I have to show up in time. Kila kitu move smoothly. If you move smoothly, sitakuwa frustrated. I'll even be more happier. See more happier, sorry. I'll even be happier, and yeah, nitaepuka hizo stories za kukuwa frustrated. Kuna any other big challenge? Self-doubt na imposter syndrome. Hiyo huwa inatuua sisi kama creatives.
I'm wondering if the self-doubt is connected to the perfectionism that you've mentioned, because you've mentioned that for you,
exactly.
Making mistakes was a problem. Being aware that you can make mistakes and actually you are allowed to make mistakes, that was a big aha moment for you. And do you remember any instance and you're saying it's coming from your childhood, do you remember any instance where for you making a mistake resulted to maybe a bad outcome that got you on this path of it has to be perfect or not done at all? Do you remember any instance that you can pinpoint to that led you to that path, to that awareness? Was it actively communicated that no making mistakes, or was it an unspoken rule? What exactly was it that made you become so afraid of making mistakes?
It was unspoken because, okay, growing up I was a notorious kid. Wale watoto wa kuchukua baiskeli asubuhi mpaka jioni. So I used to be canned a lot. Ikifanya any small mistake, you have to be punished, you know. In school, that was the same case. So that's how I think my brain got accustomed to not making mistakes. If you make mistakes, it attracts a punishment. Yeah. And now being a perfectionist, because it all started when I was a kid. In school, like, I always knew kupita ni kupita kina kila kitu. Kipata 98 ni makosa. So it all started there. Nika grow up now, but no one told me it shouldn't be that. Yeah.
What do you think was the effect of that? Like for you personally, what was the? I know now for your creativity, of course, it brought that thing where creative blocks become so massive because you don't want to make mistakes. You're thinking, I'll either create the perfect design or I'll never create anything. because at the back of your mind it has to be perfect. Beside that, in what other aspects of your life has that perfectionism been a problem and made things harder than they should be?
In school, studying for exams, that thing was depressing in quotes, because I know I have to pass. Because not passing is a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really hard sometimes. You'll find maybe the teacher didn't deliver his work well, and now I have to go the extra mile so that I can pass. It will drain you, it will make you frustrated. Where else? Yeah, mainly in school and in my work.
Yeah. So for you, the biggest challenge has always been now that understanding that mistakes are part of the process. Dropping perfection because it's not a human quality, and working around creative blocks by realizing that you will not get the perfect design, but you will get a design at some point and it's good enough.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to adjust to the good enough Kariuki, the one who doesn't get everything perfect? What has that journey of accepting that you will not be perfect been like?
Well, it's been really hard, but at least every day I'm making some progress with that. Because nowadays I'll maybe make a mistake. I'll fail to communicate, but I'll fail to communicate on time, but I won't crucify myself.
Yeah.
I'll apologize, and after apologizing, I feel like my chest is lighter, because when you have that thing, it's so bad. You just can't rest. Your mind is just going like, ni sasa nitamwambia nini? Nielewa kweli. So it's been, at least I'm getting there with time. But I'm also I'm planning on getting professional help, because in my line of work I deal with a lot of people. I do a lot of stuff, and that leads to a lot of frustrations. You carry other people's burdens. And I learned the other day that there is actually therapy for professionals, something of the sort, like inakusaidia in your line of work.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something I'm planning to get soon. Yeah, and I learned that with that, nitaweza kudeal with it easier. Yeah.
I'm very curious about the imposter syndrome that you've mentioned. What is your experience with imposter syndrome? Tell me about how it feels like to have imposter syndrome in your line of work. How does it feel in your mind, in your body? What do you experience when what are the thoughts that go through your mind when you're feeling I am an imposter at this moment? What does that paint a picture?
Sometimes, okay, it goes both ways. Sometimes I'm like it, okay. Let me give you a scenario. A client has reached out, a prospect. He's been seeing my work and he'd love to have a meeting. So I prepare, go for the meeting. And I'm leaving the house. I'm so pumped up. I'm like, today I'm bagging a new client. So I get to the restaurant. I get there a little bit early, like 15 minutes earlier, so that I can prepare. So during this time of preparation, I start imagining, nakeza niulize hivi. So by the time the client is there, I'm like, wow, I'm doubting myself. I'm like, sijui kama nitaanza. Like, una feel kama ile picha umeweka huku nje si wewe. And you start doubting and start questioning, how will they view me? What will they think about me? akiniuliza swali nikose kujibu vile alikuwa na expect, vile I miss out on this, you know, there is also FOMO that comes from there. But getting there earlier has really helped me going through that, working through that, and preparing my mind, because nitajikumbusha who I am, nitajikumbusha what I'm capable of, and that will bring back all the confidence that had gone down. Yeah. Then there is this other thing. I'll see someone on IG. They've done this big thing, like you've seen these creative designs. Like zile unaona unasema the pressure is getting us.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, wow, this is mimi naweza. Lakini deep down I know I'm more than capable of doing that.
Yeah.
But nitaji-question sana. Yeah, so it's up to me to remind myself. Sometimes even I just switch on my laptop and ninafikiria sitaweza kufanya tatuone. I redo it, I redesign it, and sometimes it comes out better, and I'm like, yeah, nilijua tunaweza fanya.
Yeah.
So those are some of the ways I tried to do that. But haikuangi kitu poa.
Si rahisi. Si rahisi.
Inaweza kufanya ujidoubt vibaya sana.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that you've been able to find ways that help you handle some of those big challenges, especially with the imposter syndrome, self-doubt, perfectionism, and all these things. What message do you have for someone who is a creative? Maybe they are exactly like you, they are creative designers, they do the graphic design and all this photography and all these things. And they also struggle with the same thing. They also sometimes doubt themselves. They're like, what if I don't deliver? What if this client thinks that I was lying when I made this pitch, when I said I could do this job? What if I do a bad job and I never get any clients again for the rest of my life because of this one particular mistake that I have made? I'm afraid that if I make a mistake, I will never be forgiven. Nitachoma CV forever. Nobody will ever look at my work ever again. I know those are thoughts that most people deal with. People think about these things all the time. And the thing about making mistakes is very common. So for you as Ian and somebody who has been there, what kind of advice would you give somebody who is in the same position? Something that could help them get beyond that, be aware that they are going through this thing, they feel the way they feel, but still they are equipped to do the work that they should be doing. What advice would you give that person?
Okay. First of all, there is a lot of information on the internet.
Yeah.
So for me, what I do when I'm feeling something that I'm not sure about, I'll just Google it. As simple as it is. I'll Google, find out, read some articles, and that's how I'll gain more insight on whatever is happening. So that's the first step. You be aware of whatever is happening. 2, when you're aware, it's now easier to find solutions. It's now easier to find people who can help you out. And like be open to learning. The other thing is work on your self-awareness, because the moment I'm self-aware, I'll know when I'm losing it. I'll know when I'm doing something that I should not be doing. Put a boundaries fulani. And that's, yeah, I feel like sijui mbona nakosa words. I feel like that's the best way to, first of all, know whatever is going on. 2, the other mistake we as creatives do is kudanganya. Nitakudanganya, nitadeliver hii by leo jioni. Na najua nitadeliver by Friday. Just be honest. Kama client haitaki, anafeel kama anaitaka sana leo, kama mimi leo sitaweza. Don't be afraid to miss out on clients. Clients will always come. You just be honest, be honest to yourself and be honest to the clients, because the moment umemdanganya amekuwekea expectations, usipodeliver unachoma CV, itakuletea more frustrations than not dealing with that client at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's something I've seen many creatives don't know how to do. They fear turning down clients. Don't usiogope, as long as you've worked on the skill set, as long as like you're doing every other thing right, clients watakuja. So just be honest, and your honesty pia na come in packaging yourself. You'll find a creative ameandika anafanyanga SEO, because SEO ndo nimeona sana. SEO is rocket science. Kitu ni ngumu. So the moment a client entrusts you with SEO, na hujui anything, you'll mess up big time. And yeah. So that's the idea. Just be honest and ukue self-aware, then be ready to find help. Kuna watu huko nje watakusaidia. Kuna resources online zimejaa. Kuna this blog, this site inaitwa Healthline. Like if you just Google anything related to mental health, I'm sure your website will pop up.
Yeah.
Just read such things, listen to podcasts, watch videos. Yeah, that's how you'll be able to deal with such things.
Yeah.
Na ikiwezekana pia seek professional help, because ni muhimu sana.
Yeah. I agree with you. Are you currently listening to any podcast that you will recommend? We go listen. You mentioned podcast and it has struck my mind that you might be listening to something interesting.
Okay, not a single podcast. I just go to YouTube and search mental health podcasts.
Yeah.
You just play them. You know, for me, I listen to a lot of music, a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
When I'm working, because ofisi yangu iko hapa mahali kwa nyumba. So I just play, I listen. Sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll just play something on Spotify. I'll just search. See what is specific.
Yeah. I think it's very true. There's a lot of there are so many resources right now. It's very difficult for someone to say that they don't know where to start, because as long as you have the internet and you have a smartphone, you can find 1,000,001 resources on the internet. So and I always share free mental health services here in Nairobi. If you're ever looking for mental health services, guys need to remember that you can always find these services. There are very many. NMS is providing free mental health at many hospitals. So don't sit at home useme I don't know where to start. Check out the resources that you share. There's always somewhere that you can find a resource. I think that's a very, very important aspect. So for you, having been in this field, in this industry, as a creative in Kenya, what is something that you've seen in the industry that you think would be beneficial if it was implemented to help creatives with their mental health within just the Kenyan context? What do you think can be done to help creatives handle their mental health issues? Because we have had a lot of cases of substance abuse, died by suicide, people losing money, people don't have friends. You're a creative, but you're always isolated. There's just so much going on. So how can the creative industry in Kenya as a whole support mental health among creatives, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is there is no awareness. People are not aware of such things. Yeah. So I think if we created enough awareness, people will actually learn. And okay, I'd say because you need to create awareness and at the same time make the people proactive. Because if you're not proactive, you won't benefit from anything. So you need to show them how to tackle things. You need to show them that kama hizo vitu za perfectionism, those are not, usipo believe it's not the end of it. It happens. Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
And you find most of the creatives, we all undergo that stage where you just alone. Haongei na mtu. Because you find no one is understanding you. And I've experienced that. Especially when your trajectory has started going up rapidly. No one understands you. Because this, ukiongea na mtu anaona ni kama wewe ni kama unapoteza sasa. Because your vision changes. So I think in as much as we are raising awareness to the creatives, we need to raise awareness to every other person so that they can also be accommodative.
Yeah.
Watu wakuange accommodative vile until waone results. That's the biggest issue, because utapata kuna ule creative anategemea validation. Well, it's not okay, but hatuwezi mcrucify. Maybe kuna ile reason inafanya ategemea validation. So atafika point no one is validating his work, no one is supporting him. Hao ndo wanaingia sasa kwa drugs, wasikia wengine wamejiua kwa sababu people around them hawakuwa accommodating. Yeah, so the awareness goes both sides. Yeah, so I think that will help. Yeah, watu pia as much as unajaribu kusaidiwa, naambia huwezi saidiwa kama hujajisaidia. Try do something, then they pick it up from there.
Yeah. I think that's important. As you mentioned, actually, with the awareness part, I must ask you what you as Ian are doing when it comes to awareness. What are you doing, or what are you planning to do when it comes to mental health awareness among creatives? You're a creative, you're aware there is mental health stuff, there's mental health resources. What are you doing to tackle that problem?
First of all, I try to talk to the people around me, creatives especially.
Yeah.
Because being there, I know the patterns. I know when someone is going through something. So when I realize my friend is all of a sudden quiet, I'll even insist nataka tupatane. Then stronger, I let you know about these things, about mental health.
Yeah.
Share some knowledge, share some websites. I don't know kuonyesha vile mimi. So next time hata kama sitakuwa, you'll know what to do.
Yeah.
The other thing, there is a movement called Fancied Story.
It's called what?
Fancied Story.
Okay.
On mental health ambassadors. So I've been working with them. Actually, do designs for them to help them communicate better. Because I feel like they're in a better position to do that than I am. So I'll just bring in my skills and combine it and raise more awareness. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. That is actually quite admirable. I'm glad you're already doing something about the problem, because I think we can sit and talk a lot about the problems that exist, but until we start doing something about them, we are just passive and not helping anybody by talking about it. I think the doing part is where we can get stuck at. So I'm glad you're doing something. I always encourage even people who are listening, who are a batch of them, I'm going to be going through their names here. I always encourage you, be the first person to share mental health content in your WhatsApp group. Don't wait for other people to share. Be the first person who shares mental health content in your WhatsApp group, in your WhatsApp stories, in your Instagram stories, in your groups, wherever you are. At home, when you're chilling with cousins, be the first person to share mental health content, because we can get we can live in a bubble thinking that just because you know things, then everybody knows them as well. So it's very important that we, I highly encourage you continue doing what you're doing. I think that is fantastic, and I'm very glad that you're doing it. Yeah. As we come to the end of this conversation, you've mentioned several resources that people can check out, and we'll be attaching them in the description of this video. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add in the resources part, and if not, maybe you can tell us how people can find you if they want to work with you, they want to collaborate on a project, or they want to hire you to do their graphics or social media or whatever. Plug yourself. This is your opportunity.
Okay, on the resources, unless I find out and like I find the specifics and share them with you after this.
Yeah.
I think that will work. On reaching me, you can simply send me a DM on either of my accounts, either Shoots by Me or Creative by Kariuki. That's my professional accounts. You can also call me on 0711 83 41 64. Yeah. What else? Or you can send me an email at creatives@gmail.com. Yeah. From that, you can pick it up from there. Anyone who needs, especially social media marketing, that's me. Go to, because with that we are solving a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Businesses are struggling with that, organization, and I need to say this. Social media marketing is not for businesses only. It can be even for creatives, because there are a lot of creatives who have their work but they don't know how to put it out.
Yeah.
You can reach out, we can advise, or we can give you a package to help you out. We are also working on a masterclass that will start in maybe towards the end of January, where we'll be teaching the basics of social media marketing, like what you need to do to put your brand out there.
Yeah.
And I'll be sharing the details soon. We're still working on that with my team. And that's how you can reach me. Just send me a DM. I think that's the most convenient.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. So we are coming to the end of this conversation. I have had so much fun hearing from you, learning from you, and I'm sure people have benefited from hearing your story, especially when it comes to something that plagues many creatives with the issue that you mentioned, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, creative blocks.
Yeah.
All those things are very common to creatives because the work requires a lot of mental energy, and it's very understandable. Thank you so much for sharing that, and I wish you all the best with the masterclass, with all the things that you're working on, all the projects you're working on in future. I'm wishing you all the best. I am hoping that it goes really well. Let me say a big shout out to Nick Mavindi and
what's my guy, Nick?
Yes, Robbie and Chekehuo. I am Kariuki is here, and Luange, Mako, Eunice. Oh, Luange, not Luange. Okay. Eunice Mwangi, Victor Prats is here, Nimongio, Chrissy, and Beingness, and Genix, and Justin, and Kimari. Thank you, Kimari, for following us, and Mwix Wanza, and Bill Gashi, Anthony, Val, and Muthoni, and Chep, and Empress, and Gatheri, and Kreshwamboy. Thank you so much for coming through and listening to us. In this entire 1 hour we've been speaking, it's been fantastic, and we have had such a wonderful, wonderful experience. So Ian, I don't know if you have a parting shot as we end this live conversation. Again, thank you very much for coming through. I really, really appreciated your time.
I'm also humbled to be here today, and I've enjoyed. Okay, there is something many people have been asking me. How do you start? I wanted to address that because it's something that I've been getting a lot of questions on. So how do you start? You just show up. If it's something like photography, Photo may succeed in photography. Go be the assistant photographer. Like for me, at this stage, nitaenda like hata stalipo, but I know I'll either meet someone or learn something. So my narrative changed from it's either winning or losing. It's either winning or learning. So just show up. There are a lot of resources online. Google, like if you want to be a graphic designer, just Google how do you become a successful graphic designer? Draw the steps, then work on your skill set, because it said that you will be needed when you have what is. So ukitaka kuwa needed, we fanya vitu zinahusiana na digital things.
Yeah.
Digital marketing, e-commerce, such things will be needed.
Yeah.
So mtu anataka any guidance, unaweza reach out. I can hold their hands. Because hata mimi niliholdiwa hands nikafika mahali nimefika. So I really enjoy mentoring people.
Yeah.
So don't just sit. Be prepared to sacrifice, going the extra mile. Yeah, and uta invest, because I've actually invested in some courses. Zimenisaidia here and there.
Yeah.
So just
Show up.
Mhm.
Fantastic. I think that's a message that everybody can start practicing. Show up and Google everything. Don't be proactive enough to Google as many things as you don't know, because the answers are all on the internet. And as Yana said, find somebody who's already doing what you want to do and they're doing it well enough, and learn from them. That is the easiest way to get to the place you want to get to. So thank you so much, Ian. I have enjoyed hanging out with you for the last 1 hour. This has been great. If you're listening and you have been with us this entire time, thank you so much for coming through. And share this video with somebody who might be listening, who might benefit from the things that you have spoken about. And if you're a creative out there and you would like to be featured on the show, please reach out to me on Safe Space Arena. You can come to the DMs, or you can go to Gmail and send me an email there. All the information is in our social media pages. So come through whenever. Let's chat. Let's demystify mental health, and let's normalize mental health. Let's make this information available for everybody so that we can stop losing people to things that can be avoided. So yeah, thank you very much, Ian, and thank you everybody, and good night, and I will see you next time.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
And you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.